Hey everyone, welcome to the final Vlad's normal tutorial I'll be doing. This one's on the boss battles. Here's going to be some annotations, and they'll speed up the process if you don't want to watch the whole video. They'll just take you right to the boss. The first boss you're going to encounter on the castle grounds is Frankie. He's, a Frankenstein type dude. Just like Typhoon, Frankie won't move when he first spawns. I sped this up a little because it takes me a while. I don't have enough SP to just destroy him. I started out with the Frankie Exocore because it has a homing attack, and the homing attack will tell you when you're in line with your opponent. Once you're in line, fire away till he goes down. This is the lazy way to win. But hey, if it works, right? Moving on, why don't we show you guys how you should actually be dealing with him. Probably Frankie's most recognizable attack is his electrode slam. He pulls the two electrodes off his back and throws them into the floor. Because he has such a startup on this move, it's actually pretty easy to avoid. You just walk right behind him. If you're too far ahead of him, remember that this move is unblockable, so it's best to run away rather than try and take it. If it hits you, it's going to stun you. You can use your panic to get out of it, though. You generally can't walk through Frankie, but if you can jump, you can usually jump over and through him. Be careful where you stand. It may look like sometimes that you're behind him or away from the electrodes, but you're not. It's also his prerogative to use more than one skill at a time, so be aware of that. And on top of all of that, you can also just jump over them, sparking. But be careful, sometimes they're going to make you lose ground. In typical supervillain fashion, Frankie laughs, giving you time to wail. And don't forget about your panic, it can really help you sometimes, if you're sandwiched. The move you'll probably see Frankie do the most is his lariat into double-fisted slam. This move actually has some interesting properties. The lariat itself, the spinning part, is unblockable, but the double-fisted slam is blockable. If the lariat connects, even if you're blocking, it's going to launch you, and then he's going to catch you up in a juggle. If you're feeling pretty ballsy, you can try sliding through him before he actually starts spinning. Remember that sliding covers more distance than jumping, so if he's chasing you, try running and sliding if you want to make distance. The slam is blockable, I just didn't block. Be careful about angles, this is definitely a 360 of the move. Seriously though, when he starts the lariat, you can slide through him. And just like his electrodes move, he gives you time to wail on him right after he does it. The lariat is a perfect time to use invincibility frames if you have them. Just make sure you're out of the way of his slam. But if you mess up, if you can hit panic before his lariat actually launches you, you can get out of it. And then you're free to wail on him anyway. The next attack in Frankie's arsenal is basically his equivalent of a panic. Unlike ours though, his is unblockable, so you're going to have to move away. He doesn't do it that often, so I couldn't actually get footage of it, but you know it's coming because he'll hunker down like he's about to squeeze out a fart. Frankie's final attack is a hop forward into a double-fisted slam. However, unlike the one at the end of his lariat, this one's unblockable, so you're going to have to move away. While he's in the air for this move, you won't be able to run through him. His hitbox doesn't actually move. On top of that, if this move connects, you're going to be launched sky high. Always remember, sliding covers more distance than jumping. You can't run through him while he's in the air, but he can actually jump through you on the initial hop. Because this move launches you sky high, you can actually be knocked out of the arena. If you don't automatically respawn, you can hit escape or shoot some projectiles. This move is also ideal for invincibility frames. Next up in boss encounters, we have the Succubus. Now, unlike Frankie and Typhon, she will seek you out once she spawns, but she won't actually attack you unless you come near her. So if you need time to regroup and build some SP, you can always avoid her for a little while. Succubus has two attacks that are up close. The first is a stomp, blockable. It hits all around her though, so be careful. I say that because if you're too close to her when she does it, it's going to hit behind your back and knock you forward. Right before she does this move, she plays with her hair, so you know it's coming. If you're crowding around her, remember to look for her playing with her hair. There's actually multiple ways to avoid this technique. Besides blocking or moving out of the way, you can also jump over it. And if you don't have time to jump, you can panic through it. Succubus' second close range attack is the snap kick. Now, this move is blockable, but you could just move out of the way. It's quite easily sidestepped. More often than not, this kick is a follow-up to her stomp. Sometimes it's best, when she's idle, not to start a whole combo, because she might kick you in the middle of it. I will admit though, the hitbox on it is a little bit wonky. Sometimes you don't actually know where it's going to connect. And it has pretty decent horizontal range, so be aware of that. Succubus' first long-range attack is a hop backwards and then bat vomit. Like Frankie's hop forward and double chested slam, she can actually hop through you when she does the backflip. It's easy this way to dodge her, but remember this move is unblockable, so even if you block, you're going to get stuck. She sighs as she jumps, so there's also an audio cue. Be very careful when trying to avoid this technique. If you're too close to her back while she's blowing out the bats, you're going to take damage anyway. You can always panic to get out of that. You can also panic through the bats themselves. Another move shared with Succubus' Exocore is her blowing kiss that turns into a laser. Now, this move has really good range, so be aware, and it spins a full 360. It covers almost the entire screen, depending on its initial placement. And this move is not blockable, so you're going to have to find a way around it. Either run past the edges, depending on its placement, or you can just jump over it. You can also panic through it, but the timing will be a little bit tight. The startup for this move is really long, so you have plenty of time to wail on her before the laser actually spawns.
Battle over.
Succubus' final technique has 3 separate variations. She'll laugh at you, and then she'll teleport to one of 3 places. She can either teleport to the left arch, the right arch, or she'll sit down on the stairs. If she teleports to the left arch or the right arch, she's going to vomit bats. Now, just like before, they're unblockable. They have much better range than before now, so even if you're in the opposite corner, she's still going to hit you. Therefore, the best way to dodge is to be about a quarter of the screen distance away from her. If you're really close, the bats will miss you. Just like her on the ground bat vomit, these bats can also be panicked through. While she's sitting atop one of the arches, or she's sitting on the steps, you actually have a chance to attack her. You have about the amount of time to jump attack her 3 times while she's sitting on top of the arches. Remember that jump punches do more damage than jump kicks. So if you want to do damage quickly, jump punch her as opposed to jump kick. And there's enough room for more than one person to be jump attacking. When she hops down, she also stands there for a few seconds, so you have time to hit her there too. Remember, you should have time to jump attack her 3 times whenever she jumps onto an arch. The third variation of this attack, when she teleports to the stairs and sits down, is a little bit different. Instead of bats, she's going to shoot lasers and shoot skulls. third variation of this attack is a lot harder to deal with, especially when you have teammates. Both the lasers and the skulls are unblockable. But if you think you're going to take damage anyway, you can always take damage once from the lasers and then you can walk through them. You won't be able to take damage from them again. This way, your teammates should have a fighting chance. Next up in boss battles, we have Vlad himself. Now, Vlad's first move is a dash. It will hit you anytime you're on the floor, but if you're laying down, it won't connect. This move is blockable, but it has crazy block stun, so you might as well just waste the panic to get out of it. If Vlad is facing forward, he won't be able to ascend the stairs when he does this dash attack, but be careful, his actual hitbox extends further than where he stops. If he's facing diagonally though, he sometimes ascends the stairs, so be careful. You can also jump through this attack to avoid taking damage. If he does connect and you get hurt, you can't panic out of it, unfortunately. Next up on Vlad's technique list, we have the hands from hell. The floor glows before he does this, so it's pretty easy to spot. You might be able to pogo this, I'm not entirely certain, but you can definitely jump over it. This move is unfortunately not blockable, but if he's on the ground floor and you happen to be on the stairs, you can dodge it automatically. And it won't grab you while you're laying down, so be aware of that too. For Vlad's next attack, we have his magic devil hand. This time he lifts up his cape. It makes the same noise as the floor glowing, but it's his cape that glows. This comes out of his right hand, so it's easy to avoid. The actual hand itself has a bigger hitbox than the arm, so be aware. And this move is unblockable. The final attack in Vlad's arsenal is his triple homing ball. Now, they are unblockable, and they have some interesting properties. If you let them travel in a straight line, they'll actually pick up speed. So it's best to bob and weave, as they say. When you're playing with a team, sometimes it's best to have someone lure his fireballs. If you get him close enough to a wall when he starts to throw them, the balls won't have time to curve around, and they'll just dissipate once they slam into it. However, the balls will never home in on you at all if you're far enough behind his back. This is a little bit iffy, but usually if you stay a certain distance away from his back, you'll be fine. This is not 100% guaranteed, but most of the time when Vlad dies, the balls that he had summoned previously dissipate if there were any left. Finally, we come to Devil. Now, the first thing you're going to notice about Devil is that he has minions. Now, these minions are actually a lot more important than just minor annoyances. If you kill a skeleton, they drop a potion. And if you pick up this temporary potion, you're able to block each and every one of Devil's attacks. Otherwise, it's going to be a lot harder. But this also means that there's only 2 potions out at a time. While it is possible for you and your teammates to, trade off and give it to another teammate so that everyone always has a potion, sometimes it's best not for everyone to use them. The first move of Devil that you're going to have to familiarize yourself with is his slap. Now he just raises his arm up and slams it down. Pretty straightforward. This move connects anywhere within the blast circle, so keep that in mind. And you may recognize these big, strong arms from Vlad's cape. If it does connect, you're going to be launched sky high. But if you've got a potion, it's blockable, like all of his attacks. If you hear, "Into the darkness," that means Vlad's going to suck you up with his vacuum breath. Now, vacuum breath itself only does 1 damage, but it usually pulls you towards the center, unless, you're facing a different direction or you're in the middle of an animation, and it'll pull you in a different direction by mistake. But even if he sucks you up into the center, you still have time to get away before he actually pounds the ground and does the real damage. Now, if you have a potion, both the breath and the actual punch are blockable. For the breath, try and face the back wall where he is, and for the punch, face the center of the room. You could always let him suck you up and then use an invincibility frame to do some damage to him too if you really want to. The next move in Devil's Arsenal is his triple homing ghost. It's kind of like an upgrade to Vlad's triple homing ball. Now, if you have a potion, these are blockable, so it's a little bit better than Vlad's version of the triple homing ball, but sometimes the hitbox on them is really wonky, so I prefer to block them when they've had a lot of time to float down, because the longer they're out, the lower they go. So I usually move to the corners to block. Now, if these do connect with you, instead of just taking damage like you would from Vlad's triple balls, they're actually going to cause you poison and slow, which is really obnoxious when you have to deal with other attacks. However, if you're playing on a team, the homing ghosts won't home in on you if you walk towards his left hand. If you're hanging out under his left hand, the ghosts will home in on the other players on your team as opposed to you. You want to know what hell feels like? Is the intro to Devil's final attack. Menacing, ain't it? For this attack, Devil's going to raise his right hand and he's going to shoot a huge laser out of it. Now, this is blockable with your pots from the skeletons, as usual, but the hitbox on it is really weird, so sometimes if you block it straight, it'll hit you anyway from the sides. So what I usually like to do is walk up to the back and block it so that it's in front of me. That way, you almost never get screwed over. Remember what I said about everyone not using the potions? If you've got a team with invincibility frames, then you should probably leave the potions to the person who doesn't have them, because they're going to have the most trouble. Cook and Persona are really good for this boss battle. I mean, there are other invincibility frames using Exos, but these two are pretty decent for this. You can actually hit either of his hands at any point that he's doing this move. Now you guys know everything you could need to know to defeat Vlad's Castle on normal. So, use what you learned and take him down. Hey everyone, I'm sorry this took so long, but I mean, it's done now, and I'm so freaking excited. I don't think I'll be making another tutorial next, but expect some stuff on the horizon. I'm definitely going to keep up my schedule. 2 Saturday uploads, 2 streams a month, usually. Probably be more in the near future. Trying to get back on track. But thanks for sticking with me, and I gotta give a big shout out to Bro and Sick for helping out as always, and definitely Cairo. Thank you so much for helping as usual. Check out Team Rushdown. I'm putting an annotation here. He's got the hookup on anything you could need to know about Sacred Scrolls and Exocores. Yeah, so thanks, and happy hunting.